Hey guys, we're still looking at lesson 2.2, write and solve equations. For this part, we're just going to look at solving equations and checking your answers. So example 1, we are still using distributive properties. So you've got 4 times 3x is 12x. 4 times negative 10 is negative 40. Bring down your positive 7, and that equals 15. All right, now we can combine like terms. The negative 40 plus 7 are on the same side, and we can combine those. So let's bring down our 12x. Minus 40 plus 7 is negative 33. And then bring down the 15. All right, now we're trying to solve for x, so we're trying to get everything else on the other side. So we're going to add 33 to both sides. So we're going to bring down the 12x. Equals 1 and 3 make 4, 5 and 3 make 8. Trying to solve for x. To get rid of the multiplication, we will divide. Divide both sides by 12. X equals 48 divided by 12 is 4. Now you always want to check your answers. So we're going to go back and check it. We're going to plug in 4 in the same equation that we have. And instead of x, we're simply going to substitute what we just solved for. So we just solved for 4. And then put a parentheses too quick, sorry. All right, so we're going to bring 4 times 3x, x is now 4, minus 10. Plus 7 equals 15. All right, and to do this fairly quickly, what I would do, I would just pull up your calculator and type it in. And as long as you type it in the way it is, make sure you are multiplying when you need to multiply, but I'm going to put my parentheses there to make sure it knows order of operations. And all right, so I'm going to plug this in. This is the left side of the equation you can see here. Okay, so I'm plugging that part in, and then I'm going to hit equal, and if it's equal, it'll be 15. So I got 15, so that means this side is 15. That equals 15, so that checks. All right, example 2. We're going to start by distributing. And then our 5 times 1 is plus 5. We're going to distribute the negative 2, so negative 6x. Negative 2 times negative 4 is plus 8. And then does that equal 14? All right, combine like terms. So I've got 5x minus 6x is negative 1x. And then I've got 5 plus 8 is 13. And that equals 14. So I'm going to subtract 13 from both sides. I'll bring down my negative x. Don't forget the negative goes with the x. And 14 minus 13 is 1. Now I'm trying to solve for x, not negative x. So I'm going to divide by negative 1. X equals negative 1. All right, again, I'm going to check my answer. You can just plug it in your calculator very quickly like I did before, or you can simply plug it in. So negative 1 plus 1 is 0. 0 times 5 is 0. So that's going to disappear. So I cannot worry about this part for now. And then I put in a negative 1 here. Negative 1 times 3. Negative 3 minus 4. Negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. Negative 7 times negative 2 is 14. So that does check. So you can use your calculator, you can write out the steps, or you can do mental math, but you should check each one of these. That's the great thing about math. When you plug in your answer into an equation, you can always know if the answer is correct. If it's not, you simply go back and rework it. Whoops. lost my screen here. Let's see. Here we go. All right, for number 4, we're going to multiply, get 10x. 5 times 3 is 15. Bring down the negative 7. We have to distribute on the other side as well. And on the other side, we've got negative 2x. And negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4. All right, now we're going to add. We want to get our variables on the same side, so we're going to add 2x to both sides. It doesn't matter which way you add. If you want to subtract 10, you can. I like to try to keep my variables positive, just easier not to lose signs if you're working with a positive. So you got 10 plus 2 is 12x, and 15 minus 7 is plus 8, equals negative 4. Subtract 8. So we got 12x equals negative 12. Divide by 12. X equals negative 1 again. All right, again, plug this in and check it. I've already checked my work, so we can move on a little bit quicker. Negative 1 is the correct answer here. All right. Example 5. All right, 0.4 times 2x. 0.4 times 2 is 0.8. 4 times 2 is 8. You've got 1 decimal place. And then 0.4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. 1 decimal place, so it's 1.2. And then that equals 0.3x plus 0.8. All right, you're going to subtract 0.3x from both sides. All right, 8 minus 3 is 5, so this is going to be 0.5x, and then plus 1.2. All right, I'm going to subtract 1.2 from both sides. I'm going to bring down my 0.5. Don't forget my x. And then 0.8 minus 1.2 is negative, because the bigger number is negative, and the difference in 0.8 and 0.2 is 0.4. All right, now I'm going to divide both sides by the 0.5 because I'm trying to solve for x. I'm trying to get x by itself. So get rid of that 0.5. Anything divided by itself is 1. But what I do to one side of an equation, I have to do to the other. So x equals negative 0.4 divided by 0.5 is going to be 0.8. Negative because that's negative. So negative divided by positive is negative. All right, take this number, substitute it in for x here, and substitute it in for x here, and see if the left side equals the right side. Very easy to check. Make sure you take time to do that. Again, I have checked mine before I started, so I got the correct answer. All right, last example. All right, this one says show 2 ways to solve the equation. All right, so let's start with what we've been doing. Which is distributive property. So we've got 4 times 2 is 8x. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Equals 2x minus 3. Subtract 2x from both sides. Set 8 minus 2 is 6x minus 12. Add 12 to both sides. Negative 3 plus 12 is positive 9. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 6. X equals 3 over 2 or 1.5. All right, it says show 2 ways to solve this equation algebraically. Construct an argument. Construct a variable argument to justify each solution method. All right, so another method to solve this would be I would set each one equal to 0 and solve. Let's see. So if you use your graphing calculator, I'm going to show you how to graph it real quick. Let's see. I'm running out of time, so I don't want to spend too much time on this. But all right, so if I go to y equals, okay, y equals, I'm going to put in 4 parentheses 2x minus 3, and then I scroll down, and 2x minus 3, and hit graph. Wow, my window is really zoomed out. Let me change my window. All right, window. Let's do zoom 6. Zoom 6 takes it back to a standard 10 by 10 window, a little quicker than doing it. So you can see that these are going to intersect right here. We could actually find that intersection there, and that should be at 1.5 because our solution x equals 1.5. So when you graph these as two separate equations, you can see that intersection on the graph. So the reason I want to show you that is it brings us to solving using our second method, which would be 4 times 2x minus 3 equals 0. And then 2x minus 3 equals 0. So let's see what happens. 4 times 2 is 8x. Minus 12 equals 0. Add 12 to both sides, so 8x equals 12. Divide by 8. X equals 4 goes into 12 3 times. 4 goes into 8 2 times. So 3 halves or 1.5. Now add 3 to both sides. 2x equals 3. Divide by 2. X equals 3 halves. Or 1.5. So there's another way to solve that algebraically. Set each side of the equation equal to 0 and solve. And a third way would be to simply graph it using your calculator and find the intersection point. And we can do trace. Let's do second trace. And number 5 is intersect. And we can do inner. Let's do second curve. Inner. And it tells us again, our x is 1.5. So there's 3 different ways instead of 2 different ways to do that. All right, you may have to pause your video to take notes. I know I went a little fast on here, but I wanted to get it in before the camera cut off. So if you have questions, just review the video. And if you still have questions, just ask for help.